Welcome into the Oklahoman's video studio. Dave Morris alongside my friend Tava Sofsky from the Oklahoma Film and Music Office. Time to talk film and music.
Yes.
The February edition. We catch up with this lady every month to learn about all that's going on around the state in the film and the music world. So this week we'll be talking about Sundance, the Glitter Ball, two things we spoke about last month. And joining us over on the couch, musicians. Excited to hear these soulful fellows. We have Kyle Reid on the left, Andy Adams over there on the right. Gentlemen, welcome into the studio.
Thanks for having us.
I couldn't grow a beard like that if I tried. Either one of you.
Just got to stop shaving. It eventually
simple
comes
as that,
in.
huh?
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, laziness really.
They will be joining Tava and I to talk about the Folk Alliance International Conference coming up in Kansas City.
Kansas City,
Taking it on the road. But Tava, first let's dial it back. Last month we were talking about Sundance. How'd it go?
It was wonderful. It was very productive for Oklahoma filmmakers, for our Studio Oklahoma partners who made it possible for us to even go and pop up in a big way in Park City at one of our biggest film festivals in the world, really. And so it was, again, very productive on a state level and really just the opportunity to showcase Oklahoma as a filming destination through the lens of wildlife. So Wildlife, which stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Carey Mulligan, directed by Paul Dano, had its world premiere there. And
how'd it go? What was the reception?
It was, we were there at the premiere, and it was, the audience, you know, of course, had a wonderful response. There was a great Q&A. One of the fun things that I took away was, and loved being in the audience to hear, was that the first question to the director was, well, tell me about you filming in Livingston, Montana. That's where the movie was set, right? And so he loved to correct him.
That's what I mean. Ouch for that reporter asking the question that, yeah, sorry, Mr. Reporter or Miss Reporter, you're wrong about that. We actually filmed.
Yeah, so they did
Oklahoma.
do a couple days in Montana, and we're, you know, it just for establishing shots. But
the conversation comes back to Oklahoma.
The rest of the movie, was done
Very
here.
nice.
So we doubled for Montana. So we can be anything, you know, for really, truly, as far as locations. And they used a lot of our local crew and even some talent and obviously tons of our local vendors and things. And so the conversation was very positive for Oklahoma in a packed, you know, room at Sundance at the Eccles Theater.
And that's one of the reasons you you go out there. Oklahoma Film and Music Office goes out there. That exposure and also for networking.
Oh yeah, I mean the networking's great. So we actually hosted 2 events as a state, and then Tulsa actually hosted they made their first kind of debut as the Tulsa Film and Music Arts and Culture Office that Abby Curran heads up. And so they had an event, and then we had 2 events. One was just networking, and then the other one we partnered with Entertainment Partners, who, if you're involved with the industry at all, you would know that name. But they're one of the biggest incentive / sort of payroll companies for the industry.
Sounds like an important company to know.
And they track all the incentives, and they promote all the states with incentives. So it's they're a great partner for us. So they hosted a panel, and so Oklahoma was represented. We hosted the panel. They moderated, and they had the British Film Commissioner, which he had multiple films at Sundance. He was kind of the big deal there.
Gotcha.
And then we had some other great panelists with us. So you can actually go onto our website. It'll be in our newsletter that goes out tomorrow.
Great.
And actually hear the live webinar, which we broadcast from Sundance. So
we should say the website, okfilmmusic.org. You want to check that out?
Yeah. So overall, Sundance was a huge hit, and again, it's worth our time and energy spent there. And then we came back to Glitter Ball was the following weekend, which I started to feel some symptoms of the flu myself, but I heard it was a fantastic
Hard to
event.
avoid the flu this season.
Oh gosh, yeah, and so you know, hats off to Dunlop Cotting for helping them put on a huge event. I mean, great, I think, celebration time for Dead Center and a fundraiser. It was a fundraiser for them. And then actually the following day from Glitter Ball, Dead Center hosted a screenwriters workshop, which we always support their different initiatives that they do around the state. And so January was great, busy, and we're back, and enjoying some warmer weather, and it can't make its mind up, but
I hope so.
sure
I'm kind of done with the cold weather.
yeah.
And the colds and the flus and all that. It's time for the warmer weather and folk festivals. So
Yeah.
this is coming up February 14th through the 18th up in Kansas City. Tell us what we should know about the Folk Alliance International Conference and the Oklahoma Room.
Sure. So I'll just lay out some of the high points of the Folk Alliance International Conference and Festival, and I have my little cheat sheet here.
Sure.
So we were hoping that Dina McLeod, she is the
Right.
executive director of Woody Guthrie Center in Tulsa, that she was planning to join us, but wasn't able to last minute. And so I will turn it over to Andy and Kyle shortly because they have attended year after year as an artist. And so I think it'll be really
Great.
cool to hear their perspective as an artist and why it's important for the state and a lot of the community organizations to support things like this, like Oklahoma having, a presence at an international conference and festival like this. So this is the 30th annual Folk Alliance International Conference and Festival. It takes place in Kansas City, Missouri, February 14th through the 18th. And our office, the Oklahoma Film and Music Office, is a sponsor of not only the entire festival or conference and festival, but also the Oklahoma Room. So the Oklahoma Room is spearheaded by Brian Horton from Horton Records, also based in Tulsa. This is their 5th annual time to pop up there. It's a 4-day private showcase. And these different showcases that happen at this particular festival, it's a really unique setting. They take over a hotel, and so the different showcases are in different hotel rooms. They remove all of obviously the furniture. And so it is amazing because you can just walk up and down different hallways and hear so many different sounds. But the Oklahoma Room,
Cool.
you gotta go all the way to the end because they have the suite spot, the suite at the end. And it's really the talk of the festival, the Oklahoma Room. You've got presidents of record labels, you've got legendary musicians, you've got, and songwriters, you've got people from all over the world that are coming to this festival, and they're drawn to the Oklahoma Room just because of like the talent right here beside us. And so we're very proud to sponsor that. I'm just going to plug, because Dina probably would have, and for Brian, is plug the other sponsors and tell them thank you for making the Oklahoma Room possible. So of course, Horton Records, Woody Guthrie Center, Folk Salad Radio, of course our office, the Tulsa Office of Film, Music, Arts and Culture, Marshall Brewing Company, and ID Tulsa, and also the George Kaiser Family Foundation. So
nice.
Again, the Oklahoma Room just has a really great reputation, and they truly attract industry delegates from all over the world. There's multiple countries represented there, and so you can read more about that on our website or go to Horton Records and read about that. So yeah, so I think we have over 25 artists, about 25 from Oklahoma going this year, and 2 of them are right here. So
Some very talented guys who, by the way, will be performing for us a couple of songs later in this segment. She teed it up. Tell us about the festival.
Sure, yeah. Well, this will be my 5th year to attend with Brian Horton in the Oklahoma Room. And it's unlike anything else I've ever been to before. Now, I'm not a dentist. I assume dentists have conferences too. But when you get a bunch of musicians together, there are jam sessions in the stairwells, and you meet people from, like you said, all over the country, all over the world, who do what you do and who love the kind of music that you love. And it's an opportunity to meet people with power and influence in that realm, but also just other musicians like yourself who are out there living day to day and who might want to collaborate on a project, or might, something might come from that down the line. And that's even strengthened connections here back in the state whenever you come back from the thing.
Yeah, there's something like 2,500 of us in the hotel. And the private showcase, which we're a part of in the Oklahoma Room, is one of, I don't know, 300, it seems like.
Actual showcase.
Actual private showcases. Every room on floors 5, 6, and 7 is a private showcase. There's only, maybe 10 suites. The Oklahoma Room has one of the suites. And in the suites, you actually have a PA.
Amplification.
Amplification. All the other rooms, so you're walking the gauntlet, and it's you know, it's shoulder to shoulder trying to get through, and
Yep.
you hear something that catches your ear, you pop your head in, and Alaska Room has Alaska beers and some smoked salmon and some reindeer jerky, and you sit and
I want to go there.
you meet somebody like Nellie Clay, and then you
Right.
have a friend, and then you're like, oh man, she lives actually in Nashville, and then you go out to Nashville to see this friend, and then your community just grows from just meeting people in the hallway and being a part of it. And all those private showcases, they don't even start till 10, and I think quiet hours is 4 a.m.
Right.
And it's just constant music, and you just hanging out for
And I'm
4
guessing
days.
I'm guessing it's not like when you go to Guitar Center and it's Carnegie Hall in there from people testing instruments. Nothing wrong with people testing instruments at Guitar Center, but I'm guessing this is a level of talent.
It's shocking to see the talent you see at this place. And people will set up in the lobby of the hotel, and jam sessions will break out. Things that would discourage people with, you know, a weaker heart, you know, from even picking up the instrument.
Right.
But yeah, you know, myself, when I go to a conference like this, I get several things out of it. The connections we talked about, but also you just go and you get inspired for a weekend. You see the amazing things that other people are doing, the things that are well within, you know, your grasp if you're willing to work hard enough, and come back energized at the beginning of, you know, the spring, ready to go into touring season and go into, you know, record promotion season and all the stuff that happens. You know, this is sort of the beginning of all of that stuff.
There's also a lot to learn
Sure.
if you take the time. I mean, you can do just what we talked about and sleep all day, and then, you know, your time's 10 p.m. and you make it to the Oklahoma Room, you play your set, you talk to people, and you do it all over again. But there's also, it is a conference.
Yeah.
It's not open to the public, and you pay your dues, and you go and you sign up for guitar class or business promotion class, and you talk to
mentoring.
people.
Right, or mentorship.
Or mentorships. Or you're lucky enough to be buying a water next to Billy Bragg before he goes on and speaks last year, like I was. It's like, hey man, I'm happy to meet you. I'm ready. I'm ready to hear you speak. And then, you know, explicitive. It's my job. And like, that was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of, being in that room last year when Billy Bragg spoke about, you know, social injustice and what are we going to do, and writing, you know, protest songs, and meeting somebody like that randomly that has meant so much to me in my career and how I write and my studying of Woody Guthrie, and it's just huge. And you don't get to interact with people like that on a day-to-day basis, but he's there just like I'm there, walking around the hotel.
Just a couple dudes with guitars, right?
And it was actually the second time the first time I came across him, I went,
Do you know who you are?
and we were just the only two in the hallway. Then and then I just kept walking down the hall with Joe Mack.
Yeah.
I'll see him later. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is at the film festivals like Sundance. You know, they're there, and I mean, it's really an opportunity to just make new connections. And one thing they were talking about, it is a conference, and I mentioned that our office sponsors the Folk. We're an official sponsor of the actual big conference, not including the Oklahoma Room. But so they do it different kind of each year. But this year they'll have two different sessions. One is a one-on-one artist-to-artist mentor session. So it's a really cool big space where artists they actually have to sign up to have these mentor sessions among each other, anywhere from like 7 to 10 minutes each. And then there's another day where they do that with the artists, get to talk to mentors, and they're professional, different industry delegates, and the list is very impressive this year. And again, it's kind of like the speed dating type, you know, atmosphere. And so we've already seen a lot of our Oklahoma artists sign up for those because they have to sign up in advance. And so that's one thing that is important for our office and the state is, you know, is promoting and showcasing, but it's also growing and learning too. So making those connections. So
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
yeah, that's awesome.
Folk.org is the website for the Folk Alliance information, and Facebook.com Oklahoma Room for more specific information on the Oklahoma Room. Kyle and Andy, how'd you guys get started in music?
Oh my goodness. Well, I watched Back to the Future at age 15, and then the scene where Martin McFly plays Johnny B. Good, I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and that was essentially the end for me. I
Did not see that coming.
It's
okay.
true. Yeah, I picked up skateboarding at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Andy?
I
How
heard
old
my
were
brother
you?
playing Secret Agent Man on the guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I can do that.
I got that riff. I can make that happen.
But I mean, a little more seriously, I went to school at OU for engineering, physics, and as graduation date approached, the job prospects, were fine, but the day-to-day living prospects didn't seem quite as good as they could have been. I.e., I didn't want to go to work as an engineer, and at the same time I was in college, I started playing gigs around town, and the community in Norman and Oklahoma City was very supportive and very encouraging. By graduation time, I was able to shift over and just start playing music full-time, make a living that way. And I figured as long as I could, I was lucky enough not to have student loan debt or anything like that, I might as well ride that train. And
Follow the passion. That's
follow
good.
the
And
passion.
how important, we talked about this earlier over coffee, is like the importance of Oklahomans going
yeah.
out to support and
Oh,
watch
absolutely.
you guys at the different showcases and
For
concerts.
sure. The support that we get is awesome, and there's always opportunities, to find more support, and the people I meet are just awesome, just incredible. Yeah, which is what keeps me doing it.
How often do you guys play together, and then how often do you do your own solo things?
Oh gosh.
It's pretty constant.
Yeah,
Both.
just
Not as much for me at the moment, but it's, you'll go through stretches where you play 15 out of 17 days, and then there's stretches where you play one in 2 weeks. We haven't been playing together as much recently because he's been focusing on putting out his new record.
right.
There's the perfect segue. New
Sure.
record.
Yeah.
Yep. So I've got a new record coming out. I recorded this record all on a 4-track cassette tape recorder with a drum machine down in an apartment in New Orleans. I spent the summer there, 2 months. Recorded this record, came back, and while getting it mixed and mastered, I launched a Kickstarter to pay the mixing engineer and all the trappings of making a record, and that just ended successfully, I'm happy to say.
Congrats.
So thank you very much. That'll be coming out on Horton Records this summer. So
Cool.
I'm very excited about that. And Andy and I collaborated. I helped produce a record for him just last year called Back to Square One, which we were able to release just last November and December. Still
Congrats
hot.
on that.
Yeah.
And I love the story behind the album and the title of it. If you could share with us a little bit of the history behind that album and your journey.
That was a long journey.
It's a long journey.
And where did you start? Maybe we should start there, right? We didn't hear where you started.
Kyle's getting comfortable.
I thought I was done with these conversations.
No.
You thought
You
were
release the record and you're done.
Now there's lights and cameras. Want to hear more?
I don't know. Kyle and I we started working together because of an obsession with different eras of Tom Waits.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started writing together, and that all came about from, really our connection through Travis Linville. And we spent a year
Yeah.
writing, and then a year making it. It happened a lot quicker than that sounds, and a lot of why things take a while in this business is lack of money. But in the Back to Square One part, it was actually the last song I wrote. I sent it to Kyle and John Calvin both for help finishing it, and John said, "Andy, that's done. I don't know what you're talking about." So I was like, fine. And then Kyle and I wrote an instrumental piece on the end of it to try to, help solidify the idea. But I called the record that because this is 15 years in the business, and really only 1 year doing it correctly. Learning the ins and outs of the industry, learning where people can actually help you as opposed to talking like they can, strengthening relationships and community and using that properly. And a lot of that came from my first year at Folk Alliance, especially with who I used to make the record. And then, if you're open to learning, then the conversations are really easy to have. And in the past, I don't know if I was as open to criticism. And so this time it was really easy to call back to square one because it's essentially where I'm at, and went into it with a very, level head of what I can actually accomplish as opposed to what's going to happen. And so, like, we did this thing, and now it's time for the next one, and we're gonna put out another record together this year, live at the Blue Door, and I'm gonna put out an acoustic EP as well this year, and those are business decisions to create stepping stones to make the next full-length record easier to put out, because that's what you need. Content. And content is songs, and content's videos, and content's stuff like this. The more of that you can do, the easier it becomes to put like an actual record. And when I say actual, like, it sounds like radio, whereas the stuff that I'm doing this year is not going to be that clean, but it's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
Well, cool. Well, let's hear
Back to
Back
square one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Could we sit together? Maybe tell me where you're from. Sometimes the littlest conversations are better than none. And I won't pry if you won't, and I could care less if you lie. 'Cause I ain't looking for answers, I'm just trying to get by. And sure, I'll have another. Hell, I'll buy us all around. 'Cause generosity has its way of coming when I'm out on the town. Never cared too much for mornings. They just remind me what I could have done. Here I come again, world, I guess we're back to square one.
You guys touched on something there, and Tava did as well, that live music and events is important. It's also important for people to support musicians and to come to the shows.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, and this idea, that I was talking about earlier is, I think everybody, and maybe it's just me, but I think everybody loves to be able to say, oh, so and so is from here, right? Garth Brooks, Reba McEntire, Toby Keith, and that's great. It's also great to be able to say, I got to see that person in a little bar around the corner from here 10 years ago before they were somebody, gigantic. And the way you get to, you get to claim that, you get to do that is by going out and seeing musicians, and there's a wealth of talent in Oklahoma, and for all kinds of music, not just country music or folk music, but there's a strong scene in just about any genre you'd want to go listen to, and there's a place to go see it. People who don't like staying in loud bars late at night, you can go to the Blue Door and hear a great acoustic show at 8 o'clock any night, just about any night of the week. There's a place for everybody, and a little bit of support goes a long way. The difference of 3 or 4 extra people showing up to a show could be the difference. That changes the way that venue sees that artist, sees the way they book the next gig, sees the whole thing. So it's very important to support, and we appreciate all the support that we do get here in Oklahoma, which is substantial at times. Yeah.
Tava, what do we need to, before we end the segment with a final song, let's bring it back here to your office. What are you looking forward to February, March, before we head into the summer season?
We have a lot of filming coming up. We have multiple productions that will utilize our rebate program that we are very grateful to have. And we're using it really well. We have a full rebate queue. So I think we have 4 officially in pre-production. One starts filming February 12th, and then we have multiple rolling out from the beginning of March on through the spring. So,
and you're going to tell me exactly what those films are
yes.
and who they star, right?
Yes.
Every time I ask you,
well, sometimes we can't announce who's in it until afterwards, or even where they're filming. And then other times, we have communities, we have productions that are a little more open with where they're filming, and they really engage the community support. And so, like, we're about to see productions in places like Norman, possibly again in Enid, Woodward. I mean, I'm kind of giving some of it away, but it's going to be really great because there's going to be just more and more productions happening, which it's great for the filmmakers, and we talk about this a lot in this room and outside of this room. I mean, it's great for our filmmakers, yes, but it's also great for the businesses, not just the equipment vendors, you know, vendors, but there's also caterers and restaurants and all the gift shops and, you know, and stores in those communities that are going to have a huge gain when those productions come through, because we just released something, I think it was even yesterday through our e-blast, where Painted Woman was a production that filmed here year before last, and it's now, you know, coming out through, it's been in theaters, and now it's going to be on demand. And just to put it in perspective, they spent around $1 million in Oklahoma in just a 14-day period. Like, that's a huge,
to boost the economy,
you know, pebble in the pond. And yeah, and we're still reaping benefits because of all the media attention and things like that. So it's going to be a very busy season for production. And then, you know, we are kind of at the top of the season going into more music festivals. There's, I was looking at our events, so back to our website or subscribe to our newsletter to get the full list. But there's like a fiddlers competition or convention. There's a guitar camp. There's Wanda Jackson has another show coming up February 17th. She's also going to be recognized and receive the governor's Arts Treasure. I think it's like, you know what I'm talking about? The Treasure Award. Right, yep. On February 28th at the Capitol at 4 o'clock. So come out there and see Wanda in action. It's just going to be a great season. We're looking forward to it.
She mentioned the website okfilmmusic.org, which also has information that will segue back to the gentleman on the couch in a second, of crew, because Oklahoma has a lot of talented filmmakers, crew members and musicians as well, and that's the perfect segue back to you guys, the talented musicians across the state and the community. Need to ask you guys to tell us, where can we find you guys next? Where can we find you online? Where can we come hear you?
Right. Well, you can find my gig dates and other information about my music at kylereidmusic.com. If you happen to be in Norman this weekend, I'm playing at the Opolis for their Stupid Cupid pub crawl as part of the Norman Music Festival fundraiser. And then on Saturday at Lazy Circles Brewing in Norman. Should be a good time.
I'm at andyadamsmusic.com. I will be at Soul City in Tulsa on Saturday doing a Horton fundraiser for Folk Alliance, where the money will go to help the room. I'm playing a set with Levi Barham, I think around 10 o'clock. There's 8 or so of us that night.
Kind of a send-off show.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And Andy, did you tell me you're a new father?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Don't I look like it?
How's it going?
Yeah.
It's exhausting. It's awesome.
But rewarding.
It's so cool. It's fun.
All right, well, these gentlemen are going to play us out with one final song. Tava, always good to catch up with you. Certainly appreciate it. Again,
Thank you.
Oklahoma Film and Music information at okfilmmusic.org. Gentlemen, the final song is?
I Could Love You Better.
Take it away.
I could love you better if you just gave me the chance. And sorry about that inclement weather, it's just who I am. And sleep can be hard to come by if we're not sharing a bed. And promise, honey, I'll get us a king size day after we wed. And folks say we've been unconventional. All I see is a lot of potential. Favorite color is each other's eyes, but honey, I'm not above you. You know I love you. Try and not worry, just know I'll always be by your side. And there's no need to fret over money, just find a job you like. And while others need vacations, you're my trip to the moon. It's just an endless exploration, compromise and truth. I understand we've been non-traditional, but old ways, they seem science fictional. Our favorite colors, each other's eyes, but honey, I'm not above you. You know I love you. I could love you better. Yes, I could love you better. Oh, I could love you better. Yes, I could love you better.
Talented guys right there, Andy Adams, Kyle Reid. I Could Love You Better is the name of the song. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Best
guys.
of luck with your gigs this weekend and all the travels ahead. Congratulations on the albums and all the success you've had so far.
Thanks so much.
Tava, always good to see you. Appreciate your
Likewise.
time.
All right, see you next month.
OKFilmmusic.org for more.